What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Talking Reviews, episode 193. Today, we're talking about just college football because we got the bracket to talk about and we got conference championship this weekend. So, we're going to take everything from the CFPs. Do we like it or do we not? And then we're going to talk a little bit about coaching staff changes, head into conference championship picks, and our projected bracket for the following week, which is what, week 16, I guess now. But first, before we talk about anything, let's introduce the guests for this episode. We got the podcast dad and we got Darren back on the episode. What's going on, guys?
Not much. Thanks for having me.
Hey, bud. Nice to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys helping me out with this one. Yeah, we got some pretty important stuff to talk about, especially with the conference championships. A lot on the line for a couple of these teams here, and a lot on the line for the ACC in general. So we're going to talk about that. But first, let's talk about the CFP top 25. So just like we do on the Wednesdays episodes, here are the top 25. Number 1 and number 2 don't move at all. It's Ohio State, Indiana. Number 3, +1 is Georgia. +1 for Texas Tech to 4. Oregon's a +1 to 5. Ole Miss a +1 to 6. A&M drops 4 after their loss down to 7. Oklahoma State's put at 8. Alabama +1 to 9. Notre Dame drops 1 to 10. BYU and Miami stay put at 11 and 12. Texas is +3 to 13. Vanderbilt stays put at 14. Utah -2 to 15. SC Virginia gets +1 to 16. 17. Arizona gets a +7 to 18. Michigan drops 4 to 19. Tulane a +4 to 20. Houston goes from unranked to 21. Georgia Tech gets +1 to 22. Iowa, North Texas, and JMU all go from unranked to 23, 24, 25. The dropouts from last week: Tennessee from 19, Arizona State from 20, SMU from 21, and Pitt from 22. With that being said, this is what the bracket looks like. The buys pretty much haven't changed besides A&M has dropped out. Texas Tech goes up 1, 2, 3, 4. Get the buys. The 5 and 12 seeds are the conference champions versus Oregon, 6 and 11. Ole Miss conference champion. 7 versus 10 is A&M Notre Dame. 8 versus 9, Oklahoma, Alabama. BYU and Miami being the first 2 out of this bracket. So with that being said, Dad, do you have opinions about this being good, being bad, anything? Do you agree with the top 25s?
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any big surprises or anything with the top 25. It looks like the committee had to, move some teams up to try to close the gap between them all. I'm surprised U of A jumped as much as they did. But I think it just made room for some of the group of 5 teams to slide into the ranking there. Yeah, there's just little corrections here and there. I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal. There's nothing that's like earth shattering on there, so I'm okay with most of it.
What about you, Darren?
USC, I've watched them 3 or 4 times. They could probably be a little higher, but they seem to trip every now and then. I think what they got, they got 2 losses or 3.
I think they're at. Oh, are they at 3 losses now?
They're at 3.
They're at
Yeah.
3, I think.
I don't know. It's weird how I think sometimes they shoot themselves in the foot. The Miami Notre Dame. I know Miami beat Notre Dame early. I don't know. I mean, as much as Notre Dame is on TV everybody's on TV every weekend, but I just when they talk about parity, I think now, and I don't. It seems like the top 15. I think anybody can beat anybody. I mean, Ohio State's been pretty good, but they just don't. They haven't really blown anybody out that by that much, and they look like they do enough to win. Everybody else is kind of, I'd say, wait and see how the first round plays out because they got our conference championships this weekend, so things are gonna change a little bit.
Yeah.
But how much, depending on if anybody gets upset. I mean, Ohio State and Indiana is probably the biggest one of them all. You got Duke. Is it Duke's of 5 losses, and they're in the conference championship game in the ACC?
Yeah.
So they're probably going to get boat raced by who they playing.
They got Virginia.
Virginia, yeah. I can't see that being a close game, but that's why they play the games. We'll see what happens.
The one you did mention was the Notre Dame Miami. They've already played. I think they should be flip-flopped on their order.
Yeah.
There's no reason why Miami should be behind them. There's the only thing you can judge 2 teams by is head-to-head, and they already had it.
and head to head is usually a tiebreaker,
Yeah.
but not in this case because Notre Dame draws. They want Notre Dame in the playoff if they can get them in.
Now, I'll argue on Notre Dame's side of this. I mean, if you're gonna lose early in the season, they lost week one to a Miami team who I do not think is the same Miami team as they looked in week one. Notre Dame on the same side has not looked the same as they did week one. So I would think Notre Dame has. I think they're valued better than Miami for the right reasons. Their loss was also to A&M, who's ahead of them at a top 10 school in the nation. They were top 5 for the whole season pretty much. So I'd figure when you look at that loss compared to what Miami has lost to this season, which is SMU, who goes unranked. I think they lost somebody
Louisville.
else, or they oh,
Louisville.
Louisville. Yeah, there we go. So it's the kind of thing where I'm like, I'm taking the A&M and Miami loss as higher losses than Louisville and SMU, even though Notre Dame did lose to the person we're comparing to. So
Yeah,
I feel like that is okay in my book to put Miami at 12 and Notre Dame at 10, which I know is a lot of controversy right now with the last couple weeks.
yeah. I mean, it's. I guess you could say that the committee do they watch every game? I mean, we talked about this 15 years ago when the voters voted for this. They voted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There was no. I mean, they had strength of schedule. They had margin of victory. They had all sorts of other criteria that they used, and now it's basically not really your win loss, but who you lost to and who you beat and who you blew out, or if you didn't blow out anybody, or reputation. Alabama didn't look like world beaters against anybody this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they could lose to Oklahoma in the first round.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Christ.
They lost to them once. They could lose to them again if it
Yeah,
comes down to it.
most likely you're not going to beat them twice in the same season, but uh, you never know.
Well, hell, they lost to Florida State week one, and it goes back to the double standard. Are we going to judge Notre Dame losing week one to Miami and not judge Alabama losing week one to Florida State?
Yeah.
You got to have that double standard there. So it
So,
looks like the committee's not having that standard of, yeah, you lose week one, but what the team you have right now is a lot different than what the team is when you had week one, week two.
right.
So besides that, I pretty much agree with this ranking. I think Alabama and Notre Dame should flip flop. I do not agree that Notre Dame is lower than Alabama, especially with what Alabama did last week against Auburn. Rivalry game. Of course, anything could happen, but only winning by 7. Offense did not look explosive and that it has the last couple of weeks, I guess. So I do
Yeah.
not agree with that, even though, yes, they did win that game. And when they talked to the committee saying them gambling on 4th down and going for it, getting that touchdown was the reason why they're ahead. I'm sorry, but did Notre Dame blow out Stanford at night in Stanford by like 49-20 or something like that? And the week before that, 70-7 against Syracuse? That's my biggest gripe. I mean, like, you're supposed to play against your schedule and blow kids out. They blew those kids out. I mean, those were boys against men at those 2 games. I don't know what Notre Dame has to do to keep their single digit ranking, where Alabama plays a bowlless team in Auburn, and yet
Did
they get a bump up because they went for it on 4th down. They got a touchdown.
play? I think somebody played. Um, I don't know, 3 loss team in week 10 2 weeks ago. It might have been. Alabama is known for playing patsy schools at the end of the season when everybody else is beating up on each other.
Yeah, it's an SEC thing. They schedule the cupcakes
Or late.
week 13 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, the week, yeah. So
So
I, the bracket will shake it out and see who falls where.
yeah, so that's our thoughts about the bracket. We'll move on though. We got a lot of coaching staff changes. The biggest one, obviously, being Lane Kiffin going from Ole Miss to LSU. There's a number of things that have happened. I'll put up on the screen for you guys to just read it off. But for you guys, Dad, Darren, do you guys have any likes, dislikes about the coaching carousel as a whole? Individual ones moving along?
The only one I have I not really a problem with Kiffin, but the way he left Ole Miss, um, him hot around was kind of indirect, didn't really say much, and then he left. I don't know. You can people can sit and complain about it how he rolled from Ole Miss to LSU for the money, which obviously the money is big. Um, I'm not going to begrudge somebody for taking a paycheck, but um, he's just a. I've never liked sports hate. I guess you could say I've never liked the guy. He left the way he got bounced from SC. He was at Tennessee for a year. He was at Alabama for a little while.
All right. I kind of know where he's going because I was going to say the same thing. So hopefully we get Darren back in a second. But yeah, no, Kiffin, that's his MO. He leaves places where he thinks there's something a little bit better beyond. And he did that. Like he said, he was at Tennessee, left Tennessee for SC for USC, and then when he was there, he got fired. No one would touch him. Ended up, going to Alabama to be a coordinator under Saban, and then he got fired from that job right before the playoffs, I think, right?
Not that he
And
fired, he took the Florida Atlantic job, but they pretty much fired him going into the national championship run because he was more focused on FAU. Saban kicked him out of the locker room and said, "We don't need you anymore.
yeah,
Go over to
he
FAU."
was recruiting. Basically, he was recruiting and trying to build up that team that for Florida Atlantic that was going to give him a chance because no one else would touch him.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, he wasn't getting a chance anywhere. Same game of life, a lifeline, and then Florida Atlantic,
Which worked.
They,
Which worked.
and honestly, I mean, the people that gave him the biggest chance is Ole Miss. You know, there's no way no one in the SEC was going to let him back in after what he did to Tennessee, but they rolled the dice, and I mean, they both got something out of it. So
yeah,
Ole Miss
yeah,
program, the exposure is really big. Everyone's talking about them. They got recruits, and now they have this villain that they all could rally around against and go, which is Kiffin. So that's gonna carry them on a little bit too. So they both kind of knew what they were doing. And
yeah.
they both used each other.
Use
But
their leverage. People people try to get leverage their whole lives. When they get it, I guess they got to use it.
yeah, and he does it a lot, and just it's just noticeable when he does it.
Yeah, yeah. He went away just long enough for people to forget about him, and all of a sudden his team is in the playoff, and he's 5 states over coaching for somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I can
all that'll
myself.
be forgiven if he wins, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no one
get
will care if he wins a national championship in the next couple seasons.
everything. Winning solves everything.
100%. The only one I want to talk about real quick is not the Lane Kiffin one because you guys hit it right on the nail. Is the UCLA hire of James Madison's head coach Bob Chesney. I think that's actually a pretty solid hiring. Last time we saw a JMU coach getting hired somewhere else, that was Signetti. He took a lot of players over there, and look what Indiana's doing now. So I think JMU could have a lot of transfers going from there to UCLA, and UCLA is pretty much a program where you could scrap everything and see what happens. And I think this is a great chance for the new coach to do something at UCLA. So I'm actually kind of excited about that hiring. Again, there's a lot of hirings to talk about. We're not going to talk about it all. They're on the screen if you want to know who's going where, but I think that's got to be the most exciting one for me outside of the big name of Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, the Pat Fitzgerald to Michigan State was that was kind of out of left field,
Yeah, that's true.
but it's a good hire.
didn't I didn't
Uh,
expect him to be back this quick.
no, no, and the fact that Penn State can't get out of their own way right now
The fact
Yeah.
that
is
they don't have a coach, that's a
so
big deal.
everybody they talked to said no thanks.
It's not as good a program as they think it is.
No,
Well,
I with that.
I'm glad that it's coming back at them because I don't think they should have fired Franklin in the first
Oh,
place. Yeah, they lost 3 games, but Franklin was the best guy for that program. I don't
yeah.
know why they fired him.
Who? Yeah, they should have had somebody in mind when they fired him.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody in the lines, either a coordinator that they like, they're going to bring up, a guy from a group of five school. They have nobody now. So I'm very curious on who they're going to pick up. And at this point, whoever they get is not going to live up to the stature of what Penn State's been 5 seasons ago. So I don't know, but great job, Virginia Tech, because I'm excited to
Yeah,
see what they do with that. All right, let's end into the championship weekend picks. We're starting off with Conference USA. Yes, I know Conference USA not great, but It's a lot of conference games to talk about. So we're going to go quickly through some of them and take a little bit longer with some others. So we'll start off with Conference USA. It is Kennesaw State, Jacksonville State on Friday. Kennesaw State is favored in this one. They have played each other earlier in the season. It went Jacksonville State's way, 35-26 win. But this year or this week, can it be different? Dad, do you see a outcome for the Owls winning or the Gamecocks?
No, I see Jacksonville State winning this one. I haven't. I see the names, sometimes on Saturdays, but I don't watch any of them. I don't watch either team. But I did a little bit of research, and the one thing that I did find out is Jacksonville State is 6-0 at home. So 6-0 at home. I don't think they're going to lose at home. So they already beat them once this year. So I'm picking Jacksonville State.
All right,
So
Darren.
that game was that originally a neutral site with Conference USA, or do they or
I think it's the higher seed hosts.
okay, so they just happened to be in the game. I mean, obviously, what Raul said as far as 6-0 at home, and if it's a home game, it'd be hard to go against them.
Yeah. So you got Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm going the opposite way. I got Kennesaw State winning this one. 9-3, a better record than Jacksonville State. Both teams are 7-1. Their only loss is coming, obviously, to the Gamecocks. Their losses this season, though, I actually really like. Wake Forest 10-9. That's earlier in the year. Indiana, so they played a good team. They got smoked in that one, 56-9, but they still played a good, high caliber team. So it's the kind of thing where it's going to be pass heavy team of Kennesaw State versus a run heavy team of Jacksonville State. So who could stop the other team of what they like to do? It's the first matchup versus Jacksonville State, or the first matchup, 4 interceptions for the quarterback in Kennesaw State. So if they can limit the interceptions, they limit the turnovers, I think the Owls get the job done. That was really the big reason they lost that first matchup there. So I got Kennesaw State winning that one, which will be not an upset, but I still think Jacksonville State gets a little bit of the edge getting the first matchup there. All right, we'll move on to the Sun Belt, which is Troy versus number 25 ranked James Madison. Obviously, James Madison, a big favorite in this one, 23.5. These lines obviously were made on Tuesday night, so they may have changed by now. But James Madison, big favorite. Darren, do you think James Madison gets it done?
Is their coach still coaching for them, or is he moved?
Yes, he will still be there for the rest of the season.
Depending how the kids react to him leaving, they may want to do. They may be unstoppable. I mean, they're favored by 23.5. They might put 45 on Troy or 50 on Troy. Who knows? But I'll have to go with James Madison only because, I mean, one more for the coach and one for the Gipper, I guess you could say, was kind of a cheesy line. But if their coach is still going to be there, I've got to go with James Madison.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, no, I have James Madison as well. But I just hope that they are still motivated, because the way everything's kind of shaking out, it does, if with the other conference finals going, other conference championships going, they could win this game and still be shut out of the playoffs. So they have that kind of going against them. So hopefully they stay motivated enough to put the effort in and to win this game. But they should win it. I have James Madison winning this one.
Yeah, me too. There's nearly not much to talk about when it comes to Troy. James Madison's looked really good all season long. Their one loss coming to an ACC team at Louisville. That was 28-14 loss there. So they just run through the Sun Belt Conference. I don't think there's going to be anyone slowing them down. I don't think Troy has enough firepower there to slow them down. Easy pick, JMU for me as well. American Athletic Conference. We got a top 25 ranked game here. Number 24, North Texas versus number 20, Tulane. Dad, who you got for this?
This one, I have North Texas. I know they have the same record going in the conference here, but I have North Texas winning it. I think just it's going to be a shootout, But North Texas has proven that they throw the ball a lot. They get a lot of yards. They put up a lot of points. So it's just a matter of who's going to outlast who. I think the defense is going to struggle to keep up with their offense. So Tulane's going to have a hard time stopping them through the air, and I think that's just going to put them over the edge. And I think North Texas should win this one.
All right, Darren, what do you got?
I got another coach moving on to another team. Is he going to be coaching?
He will be there. Yes.
it just depends on the kids react. Maybe they like in the Madison James Madison game. Maybe the kids come out flat. Maybe they're like, okay, well, coach is leaving. I'd like to think that they won't be like that. Um, so I'm gonna go with Tulane on this one. Just
Oh,
way out, and the kids are probably I don't say looking for their jobs for next season. I mean, of course the portal is the portal, but I don't know who they're. Have they named an interim in the meantime or no?
for North Texas?
Tulane.
For Tulane? No, I haven't heard.
No. Okay. So, yeah. So we don't know if it's a coordinator, if it's somebody new or what. But I'm gonna go with Tulane.
All right. So for me, when I was looking at these picks, I did initial picks. I picked North Texas before doing any research. After doing some research, I'm still going with North Texas. I like them a lot this season. I watched a little bit of their games, a big one against Navy earlier in the year. Really good matchup. North Texas looked really good. Mestamaker, quarterback, freshman quarterback. So who knows if he's going to be there next season? He might be a big transfer portal topic in the offseason. He's really good. He's number one in passer yards in the conference and in the NCAA, 3,800 yards for him. Wyatt Young, his number one receiver, is third in the nation in receiving yards. Also has 10 touchdowns, which is eighth best in the nation. And their running back Caleb Hawkins, he is first in the nation in touchdowns. So I think there's a lot of firepower from North Texas. I think the Mean Green get it done over Tulane. I think Tulane's pretty solid. They had a couple of hiccups against like Ole Miss and UTSA, which they did not come to play against Ole Miss, which I was very disappointed in that one. But I think North Texas has a really good team. I think it's going to be a big offensive game for Mestamaker and that pass offense. So I got North Texas winning this one. Then we head to the Mountain West. We got UNLV versus Boise State, a matchup we see all the time. Do we see any different outcomes in this one? We'll start off with Darren.
Where's the game at?
It will be at Boise State. They're not a neutral site conference game.
It's probably going to be cold. It's probably going to be snowing. And that blue field,
Oh, that blue
it,
field, man.
that blue field. Yeah, I'm going with Boise State.
All
I know
right.
that's pretty lackluster description or reason, but Boise State seems to beat UNLV all the time.
Yeah. Dad, what do you got?
Um, yeah, that blue field is terrible.
Ah,
On that blue field,
no.
horrible. But Boise State has always just beat up on UNLV, and the biggest reason is the running game. They usually run all over them.
Yeah.
UNLV can't stop the run, and Boise State, I mean, they're traditionally, they do a lot of running, especially in the last couple of years. And I think they already beat them once this year, didn't they?
The two of them did play 56-31 win Boise State.
Yeah.
Was that?
Um,
Well, it didn't really matter where it was at, but 56 points. It's a lot.
I want to say that was a home game for Boise State too. I could be
yeah.
wrong, but I think that
I
was a
think they're
home.
going to beat them again. I mean, and the biggest thing is, I think the quarterback for Boise State is back this week. Right? I think he was getting ready last week. He got hurt a little bit. That'll make a
Okay.
difference. But regardless, if they could run like they have been, then I still think it's Boise State.
Yeah, this conference is interesting because there was four teams at 6-2. The other two teams were San Diego State and New Mexico. It came down to pretty much a committee within the committee to make this opinion of UNLV and Boise State being the top two teams in the conference, which I don't think we've ever seen before when it comes to a four-way tie. And it all came down to San Diego State did not play New Mexico in the regular season, so they had no metrics on that, causing those two to miss the conference championship game. So we have these two instead. UNLV, pretty solid team. First year under Dan Mullins. They didn't look too bad. Didn't watch a lot of them just because they're not really an exciting team the last couple of years. If I'm going to watch a Mountain West team, it's going to be Boise State. That team I haven't watched that much because they've lost early in the season, kind of got off the radar. But between these two teams, Boise State has won the last 10 meetings of this. They're 12-3 versus UNLV all time, 7-0 when it's on the blue turf. So I don't know how Boise State doesn't win this game. So I got Boise State winning this one. You guys mentioned a lot of other good stuff there, but I thought I'd just include that as well. 7-0 at home, make it 8-0 for the Broncos. Now let's head into some of the bigger ones. We got the Big 12 championship Saturday morning. We got number 11 BYU, number 4 Texas Tech. Dad, start this one off for us.
All right. So yeah, this is a good one. This is probably the conference I've watched most, with ASU being in it. Um, they've already played once already. Texas Tech beat them. That was at home. College game day and everything was there. Um, has there been much change since? I don't think so. I mean, the quarterback for Texas Tech, he's I think he kind of got hurt a little bit early on. That's the only one loss they have is when he wasn't playing. They had that freshman quarterback in there. So with their normal quarterback, they should be good. BYU, I know BYU's big tough team. They're gonna rally behind um,
The
uh,
coach, yeah.
the coach
Kalani.
Shiitake. Yeah, Kalani Shiitake, right? He's gonna, he's staying. He's committed to staying. He's got the support of the university now, and he's gonna probably be the fixture there for a long time, just like Lavelle Edwards was there. Um, but I think it might be a little close game, closer than the first one was. But I think Texas Tech is gonna win by a stash, thanks to that linebacker Rodriguez.
Ooh, all right. Darren, what do you got?
Well, comparing their records, they let's see, what's the spread on this game? 12 and a half? I mean,
Yeah,
they
12 and a half.
fairly identical records. They beat the same teams. Um, BYU and their coach, I mean, they've seemed to be a lot better over the last 5 years than they were the previous 10. Um, I don't say they came out of nowhere, but they've been good for a while. Texas Tech, they're not the Red Raiders like they were when Mike Leach was coaching there, but they can still score points. So, I yeah, I'm going with Texas Tech. Just
I think the quarterback makes a difference. I don't think Bear
sure.
Brockmeyer he can't put the team and win it with his arm. I don't think he could do it as much as everyone thinks he can.
He
Yeah.
likes to run a lot. And if the linebacker situation with Jacob Rodriguez and the other guys out there with especially with that line, if they're able to shut down the run play, LJ Martin and Bachmeyer are not going to be able to run the ball well. And again, I don't think the pass game is all that great this year with BYU. So I guess with that being said, my pick's Texas Tech. I like Notre Dame. I need Notre Dame to be in the playoffs because of my preseason pick. So if BYU wins this, Notre Dame's out. So obviously I gotta root for Texas Tech. I still think Texas Tech is a better team. They're gonna win it for the reasons I just said. I think their defense is better than BYU's defense. We already saw that on display earlier in the season. So I got Tech winning that one as well. So clean sweep for the Red Raiders. A matchup I forgot to write down for you guys and for myself. So we're going off of this blind. The MAC championship, Miami of Ohio versus Western Michigan. Western Michigan favored by 2.5. Quick picks. Darren, what do you got?
Uh, I I don't have any insights on this because I don't think I've seen either team play. Um, I'd say Miami and take the points.
All right. Dad, what do you got?
Give me the Broncos, Western Michigan.
The donkey.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Broncos too, just because I know a little bit more about Western Michigan than I do about Miami. I think Blaine Gabbert's kid is still at quarterback at Miami. I could be wrong about that, but he might still be there. Transfer portal stuff, I have no clue. I don't know why I forgot to include that one. I had no information as well. So that was a blind picks for all of us. We're moving on to SEC now. Number 3, Georgia. Number 9, Alabama. A rematch from earlier in the season. Darren, going back to you. Who do you got for this matchup?
I got Georgia. I've watched Georgia a few times. Like I said earlier, Alabama hasn't really impressed me that much. Um, I just think they've been kind of overlooked all year. If you ask me, they just been winning.
They've been
And
quiet, just kind of sneaky
yeah,
in there.
yeah, and all of a sudden they're ranked third. Um, they're favored. It's only 2.5, but I don't know. It's going to be a good game. Are they playing at the where Georgia Dome or
Yeah, I think so. I think that's where they do it.
Yeah, Mercedes Field over there.
I'm gonna go with Georgia only because I don't like Alabama. I got my great aunt's grandson is a tight end for Georgia, so
Okay.
I'm gonna go with yeah.
All right. Dad, what do you got?
All right. Um,
Very
this one was, I
scientific.
mean, yeah, this one was kind of a close one, but I'm going with Georgia. I got a couple guys I know from there that would be disappointed if I didn't pick the Dogs to win.
Shout out
Um,
Keenan. Shout out George.
but Georgia's only loss being Alabama, was a little bit earlier in the season, and I think they've gotten better since. I don't think Alabama has gotten better since that game they played against each other. So I'm going with Georgia.
That's a great comment to make because looking at this on paper, I still don't really know who to pick. My initial official pick is Georgia. Again, I love you, Keenan and George, so I'm gonna root for your guys here on this one. But that's a great point that Alabama has not really gotten better since that win against Georgia, where I think Georgia has gotten better since that loss to Alabama. Losing at home, not ideal, especially when it's against a guy like Alabama. But what Georgia has done the last couple of weeks, I enjoy a lot more and trust that over what Alabama's done offensively, especially against Auburn, where they could have lost that game a couple of times. Defense kind of kept them in there. So Georgia is my official pick there. We'll move on to the Big Ten now. Number 2, Indiana. Number 1, Ohio State. We'll start it off with Dad on this one. What do you got, Dad?
So, yeah, this is another one where I kind of want to root against. You always like to see some upsets, right? But I don't think
Not here.
I don't think you go against Ohio State on this one. I mean, they've been number one all year. They've done enough to win every game. Now it's not the hardest schedule in the world, Big Ten wise, but they've won every game. And I think, yeah, I think they're going to win. They're going to be favored. They're reigning national champs, undefeated all year. I mean, until someone beats them, you can't really go against them.
All right, Darren.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Indiana's a good story. Ohio State, it comes down to I would say the horses for Ohio State. Their offensive line, their wide receiver. I can't think of his name.
For Ohio State.
For Ohio State.
My God, I'm blanking too now.
Yeah, I had it 2 minutes.
Jeremiah Smith.
Jeremiah Smith. Um, if they shut him down, great, but they can still run the ball. And I watched most of the game against Michigan last week, and it was almost methodical. Like they came out. Michigan scored some points. They started kicking field goals, and I said to myself, "You got to score. You got to score touchdowns to beat Ohio State." And they kept kicking field goals, and I think they got beat. They ended up with 3 field goals.
Yeah, they 27-9.
Yeah, they hit the ball in the red zone. I mean, right out of the gate, 2 or 3 times, and they didn't get touchdowns. And you look up, and they lost by 20 points. And Ohio State really didn't do much, so I don't think they tipped their hand to what they could do. So Indiana's quarterback can run, he can throw. I just don't think they have enough to beat Ohio State.
All right. Yeah, Mendoza
Well,
leads the nation in touchdowns, 32 touchdowns through the air. Yeah, he is a kind of a dual threat quarterback. He can run if he has to. It's not his first idea to do, but he is going to do that. Indiana, undefeated for the first time ever in their program history,
yeah,
9-0 in conference play. So it's something to be definitely proud of when you're an Indiana fan or one of these players here. But do I think Indiana's roster is comparable to Ohio State's? Not at all. I mean, when you look at the offense, Julian Sayin, who I was not very high on the preseason, is shutting me right up. Over 3,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, pretty much just as good as Mendoza. They're talking about him as maybe winning the Heisman. I mean, he's on the best team. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. It's kind of surprising as a freshman he's doing this kind of stuff. And they have a guy named Bo Jackson. I mean, how can you not root for a guy that's named Bo Jackson? I mean,
right.
58 yards away from 1,000 yards rushing. He's going to hit it after that game. I got the Buckeyes winning that one. Obviously, if you know me, it's not a hard pick for me, but I think because of those reasons, the offense is so explosive. Darren makes a great point. What they did was very methodical against Michigan, and they didn't even show all their cards. I think Ohio State gets it done against Indiana, and I don't think it's going to be close. All right, we'll move on to the last conference championship game, ACC championship game. A lot on the line for a lot of teams. Duke versus Virginia. Dad, what do you got in this one?
This is probably the most important game of all the conference championships. A lot rides on this game
For
because
two teams that no one really cares about unless you're a Duke or Virginia fan.
right. Yes, but it means a whole lot down the road with the other group of 5 champions,
Yep.
with Miami, Notre Dame. There's a lot on the line here. But I mean, yeah, Duke's 6-2 in the conference. This 7-5 overall. I mean, they had a lot. They had a tough out of conference schedule, so you gotta applaud them for doing that. Yeah. So I mean, Duke isn't as good. I mean, like I said, they show a lot of losses, but a lot of non-conference losses against some better schools. It's just kind of the way it worked out. But I think in the end, it's going to be Virginia winning it, and then kind of keeping everything good with the whole playoff situation going on. So I picked Virginia.
All right, Dan, what do you got?
Yeah, I would have to go with Virginia. I know Duke has played. He had 3 ranked teams: Illinois, Georgia, Virginia. Um, they lost to UConn, or they lost to UConn, who was unranked. They did. I mean, they didn't. They ran with Illinois, Georgia, and Virginia for a while. I mean, Illinois took them by 45-19, but I just don't think. I don't think Duke has got the program to beat Virginia right now. I mean, record is record. It speaks for itself, but I have to go with Virginia, like Rawl said. I mean, if Duke does upset Virginia, what's that going to do to the brackets? What's that going to do to everybody else?
Mayhem. It's going to be mayhem on the Sunday following this.
Oh, yeah.
It's been when 15 teams needed to lose and 8 needed to win, and every one of them did. And here we come with the BCS the next year when Nebraska earned the right to get boat raced by Miami in the Rose Bowl. So, yeah, I got to bring that up again.
Yeah, Duke needed a trick play to beat North Carolina, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. There's no way they're going to beat Virginia.
Yeah, so Duke, you already mentioned 75, not ranked. Somehow are 6-2 in conference play. If you watched any episodes before this, you know how I said Duke is not making this conference championship game. It's going to be Louisville. It's going to be Georgia Tech. Somehow neither of those teams end up doing it, which is very surprising. But Duke has a pretty respectable schedule. I will say that. Illinois, earlier in the season, respectable game to go against. Georgia Tech, they have to play them. They lost, though. UConn actually had a very good season, a 9-3 year for UConn, which is a basketball school. So hats off to UConn there. But the big one, losing to Virginia earlier in the season. I don't think that's a great loss. Don't think that's going to be a lot of confidence boost right here because Virginia already knows they win, they're in. They've already beat them once. They could probably do it again. 10-2 season this year. But player to shout out for Duke, my guy I'm circling, quarterback is Darian Mensah, 3,400 yards, 28 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions on the year. That's 5th best passing yards in the nation at 3,400. So I think he is going to be a difference maker in this one. If Duke wants to win this game for Virginia, just keep going with what the game plan is. They already have the game plan on how to beat them. But I'm picking Duke as my official pick, and I want to see mayhem happen. I think Duke gets the job done. Neutral site, so who knows what the hell is going to happen.
I like that. I'm looking forward to Duke winning now.
All right. All right, and we got a bonus pick. December 13th should be a 1 game only. Unfortunately, that is the start of Bowl Mania, but Army versus Navy is on December 13th in the morning. Who is your official picks for Army versus Navy? Darren, we'll start off with you.
I'm going Army.
Oh, all right. The upset there.
Yeah.
Dad, what do you got?
I think I'm going to go with Navy.
Okay.
Where's the game at?
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's usually at the Philadelphia place.
Lincoln Financial Field, is that what they call it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, between these two quarterbacks, oddly enough, they lead their teams in not just passing yards, but also rushing yards. So watch out for the option plays and holding on to the ball. I think Horvath is better than Hellam, so I'm going Navy in this one, but just a little bonus pick for you guys. So with that being said, if conference champions have been picked, the top 5 teams of the conference champions automatically in. So let's look down the line. For me, it's Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, James Madison, and North Texas being my top 5 conference championship wins. Obviously, because I don't have Virginia winning that one. For you guys, though, who are your top 5 teams or conference champions?
All right, so I have Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, Virginia, and North Texas.
North Texas over James Madison?
Yes.
All right. Darren, I'm guessing you have the same thing there?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech. I think I had Tulane winning the American Athletic Conference, didn't I?
Oh yeah, you did. So would you have Tulane instead of North Texas?
Yeah, and then James Madison.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, the bracket probably wouldn't have changed that much for you, Dad, huh? Because you have Virginia in there as being a conference champ. Alabama would have lost, so Alabama would stay put at 9. So your bracket's pretty much the same, huh?
It is. I have Georgia and Indiana swapping places though.
Oh, okay. So
2 and
you'd have
3.
Georgia 2, Indiana 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, despite how close that game is.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Darren, your bracket pretty much similar to the one that's out right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Any changes between Alabama and Notre Dame for you?
No. Um, I would like to see Oregon in a championship game just to get one more look at them, but they're not. So
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, my bracket is the same 1 through 4. I don't think regardless of how close that Indiana Ohio State game is, I don't think they're gonna move unless it is a blowout. Then maybe they drop down to 3. Georgia gets a bump up to 2. But I think because the committee already has Notre Dame at 10, Alabama at 9, I don't think they're going to swap those 2 teams around. I don't think Miami gets in based off of who I had picked. The only one that I would have to be careful about is BYU winning, because then that would mean Notre Dame's out and BYU would take that 10 spot. But I have North Texas ranked above James Madison just based off the fact that the conference championship game is better in the American than it is in the Sun Belt. So I think James Madison would unfortunately have to play Oregon, and North Texas would get, I guess, probably a favorable matchup against Ole Miss, depending on what Ole Miss team is going to show up
yeah,
for that game.
yeah. The other thing you got to think about is what kids sit out because they don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, it's always a
Yeah.
thing too.
Big thing
Ruin their
like
draft status.
draft status. Yeah. So I don't know. There hasn't been much talk about this year, but it's college football.
Yeah. No, you know some big name is going to do it, whether it's offense
Yep.
or defense. But yeah, I mean, looking at the bracket, I don't think it's going to change much from from what you guys have said, from what I have said. If mayhem ensues, though, where we see a lot of upsets, where BYU wins over Texas Tech, maybe Texas Tech loses a first round bye, Oregon jumps up, who knows? But
Yeah.
there's a lot could happen. But looking at who potentially can make it and who is pretty much a lock in, um, Dad, your preseason pick was Oregon. Are you going to stick with that?
I gotta stick with Oregon. Why not? They're in it. They're gonna make it. I could ride them out to the end.
All right, Darren. I know you weren't with us at the beginning, but of the people who have a potential to win it, who's your pick right now?
I like Oregon.
Really?
Yeah. I think I I like their quarterback. Um, and Ohio State's good. I don't know. They're not flashy. They haven't been beating the hell out of people. And everybody else. I mean, I just think Oregon might come in through the side door.
Hmm. Okay.
Every game they play might be a trap game. I mean,
That's true.
the ball the way their offense is just. I mean, Dan Lanning is. I think he's a great coach, and they've always got talent on that team. Always.
Yeah. No, you're right. They got a lot of talent. Dante Moore has actually been pretty good. He's not one of my high caliber quarterbacks that I'm going to choose over some others, but he gets the job done.
Yeah,
Um, but preseason, I picked Notre Dame. Obviously, with my picks, I got to keep rolling with them. The only bad thing is if Indiana does beat Ohio State, those are obviously going to flip flop. They're going to take one, Ohio State down to two, if not lower. If Ohio State has to go down to two, that means we might get a matchup of Notre Dame versus Ohio State again. I don't feel as confident this season as I did last year about Notre Dame beating them. So that would be tough. And obviously, if the bracket doesn't change at all, they have to face A&M again on the road again. It or actually what they faced them in South Bend actually. So this actually might not be great for Notre Dame. I'm still gonna roll with them, but if I had to pick another team, I think based off of what Ohio State and Georgia have been doing recently, I would say one of those two would be another favorite of mine. But I'm gonna pick Ohio State if I had to pick one. But I don't
can't
know.
really.
Anything can happen. I mean, it's college
Yeah,
football now.
yeah,
These brackets are crazy. Sunday could be a whole mess of a change up with this bracket, and
Yeah.
everything we're talking about could be totally different when it comes to Monday. So
There
who
could be a
knows?
chance of 3 different teams being in here that we're not even talking about.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, if BYU wins on Saturday morning, they're in there. BYU might give Texas A&M a run for their money if they're slotted in that 10 spot, or maybe they jump higher than that. Maybe they get to play Oklahoma because Alabama lost or something like that. So then you got BYU, Oklahoma. I actually like that matchup for BYU. So who knows? Who knows? But
Yeah.
any final comments from you guys?
No,
Uh,
I'm just curious to see how it's all going to shake out on Sunday at the end here.
Look forward to a bunch of crazy games and, like you said, mayhem. I
Yeah.
like mayhem,
Mayhem would be fun. That would be fun.
especially when my guys are on the outside looking in.
Yeah, mayhem would be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Again, anything can happen. It is college football. But games start on Friday afternoon. So if you guys want to watch, make sure you guys head to ESPN or CBS stations. I think those are going to be all the channels for conference championship games. So check out that. But thank you guys so much for listening to this one. Episode 193 in the books. Appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, the bell icon so you guys are notified when episodes like this drop. Also, when you have a good discussion down low, let us know. Do you guys agree with our picks? Do you guys have a sneaky underdog pick that we're not even talking about right now? But make sure you guys have an awesome weekend of college football, and we'll see you guys later.